NHL team, Coyotes,
Oh, they
were
are?
selling, no?
Oh, they're selling them?
They were last year. And they were talking about maybe bringing them to KC.
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started, I have a request to add the final payment for the CBDG payment for the lagoon project. I think we all have this in front of us. I ask for a motion to add that to the business and discussion items.
Move to approve the request for the CBDG funds onto the
Second.
agenda.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
Move to approve minutes, regular
Roll
meeting.
call.
Oh, sorry, roll call.
Sorry.
Roll call, please.
Snellings,
Present.
Ferris,
Here.
Barons,
Here.
Keating,
Here.
Beichman,
Present.
Throm,
Here.
Schrader,
Present.
Gurecki.
Present?
Quorum is present.
Now I would ask for approval of the minutes.
Move to approve regular minutes, February 10th, 2025 is written.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Good.
Now we'll open it up to public comment. For individuals not on the agenda, they're allowed 5 minutes. Any scheduled requests are allotted 15 minutes. Prior to making any comments, please state the following: first and last name, your address and ward. So I see there is none. So we have Mandy on the agenda here.
Good evening. It is so nice to be in front of you. I have missed a couple of months in a row now, so it's so nice to be here. Thank you very much for letting me be
Boring
here.
without you.
You what?
It's been boring without
Well, that's right, because who else wears bright yellow sweaters? So glad to just bring some news about the library. We are starting to work toward our spring programs, so things are going pretty well here. I'm not going to read your letter to you necessarily, but I will tell you teens are lots of fun. Anytime I'm having a bad day and I go in there with the teens, I immediately have a better day. When I leave, the room is usually open. Sometimes the window is cracked because it gets a little smelly in there, but it's lots of fun. I really, really enjoy it. And I know that most of the public doesn't read the letter, so I do want to make sure that I mention that just in case anybody pays for audiobooks or ebooks, they can come down to the library and get a couple of access to a couple of consortiums for free, since that's in your letter as well. Aside from that, I did just have some information to share with you about our upcoming programs. I just got these posters finished today, which is the reason why you get to be some of the first ones to see them. We have a couple of Library U's coming up, gluten-free bread options for all, so that's kind of fun. That's going to be on the 20th of March. If you have never been to a roller derby event, you need to go. I've been to it several times. I still have no idea what's going on, but it's fabulous. So on the 17th of March at 5:30, we are going to be Zooming with a board member from the Lincoln Roller Derby. Her name is Whiskey, and so hopefully you'll be there to be able to talk about or listen about the history and the future of roller derby. And then our last Library U for the month, we added one. Paula Landau-Smith, Susie Latta, and Megan Jaquist are trained in COMET, which is changing our mental and emotional trajectory. This program that they have been trained in was actually specifically designed for farmers. Lots of times we think of farmers as kind of rough and gruff, and maybe they don't deal with their mental health as well, but it's a really important thing for everyone. This, of course, is open to all. It's geared toward all, but that's originally the way that it was started, which I think is really cool. We're going to have some light refreshments, and so if you were interested, there's a QR code to sign up, just so that way we know who to plan for.
When was that again?
March 31st at 5:30, and it's more of a 2-hour program, depending upon who shows up and how it goes. And then lastly, the last one that I'm really excited about, I just wanted to tell you about our spring vacation stations we're going to be having at the library. So during spring break for several years, we've had kind of a craft thing where we have a craft every day. And some of the participation was declining a little bit. So we thought, let's just shake it up a little bit. So for this spring break, we're going to have different self-directed stations throughout the library all week. Everything from origami, giant board games, puzzle station, a retro writing station, and most of the stations will change a little bit every day. So even if you come one day, you can come the next, and it'll be a little different. So we're really excited about it. It'll be open when we're open, because we're not going to take them down every night. So March 17th through the 22nd, spring vacation stations. Is there any questions for me, or would you like any further information next time I come?
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're really excited. Yeah, my staff is really excited about this. It's a little different, and we're going to be a little shorthanded over spring break, so it really works out well to still provide a really neat service to the community, but yet not overtask our staff members. So, okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Mandy. Now we'll move on to business and discussion items. First off, we'll be on the Brocky Heights letter of assurance request.
On this, city staff is just asking council to direct us to send out this letter, asking for a new financial assurance. This is the same as what was provided before, but the old one is expiring. And since the project has not been completed, we want to make sure that the finances are still there.
So this is a renewal of the previous?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's where I was confused, because I know when they came with Jessica that one time, they wanted to know if it could be the developer. Is that the same thing, where they had the letter?
Yeah, so it is the developer that needs to provide the financial assurance. They could technically pass off that cost eventually onto
Okay,
the people that buy the land.
okay, that's what I wondered.
I know, and during that meeting, they were under the impression that it didn't have to be them. I remember they were asking, the city attorney was here at that time. And I was under the understanding by the way he spoke that it could be them or the buyer. Is that still the case?
For putting it in?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, but in order to develop, it needs to be put in. So no building permit or anything like that is going to be approved until there is sewer, at least to that location.
And I think it's best to have the property owner to have that letter of insurance,
right,
not a developer that might.
pull out, yeah. That's why I wanted the clarification, so.
For the lawyer sending to updated financial terms.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'd call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Next up, we have policy A103, longevity pay, rescinding policy A84. I think this is something we all kind of decided on, but we need to make it official. So I'd either ask for discussion or a motion.
Move to approve the longevity pay policy A-103.
Second.
There's a motion that's been made and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'd ask for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next up, we have policy A104, procurement policy. I'll let Josh explain this a little bit.
Yeah, so this procurement policy rescinds the previous procurement policy A-88. This comes from the Admin Finance Committee, where they talked about the purchasing authority. All the rest of it stays the same, you know, what you guys had approved for the CDBG process and all that other stuff. It's only in the purchasing authority.
Move to approve policy A-104.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? If not, I'd ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Ada.
Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution 2025-02, resolution to set a hearing for an RHID. Is there anyone that would want to speak to this or have a discussion?
Good evening, council. Tyler Holloman with Frontier Development Group. It's been a minute since I was in front of you, so I wanted to, obviously here to talk about the RHID, but I thought I'd just take a few minutes to give you kind of a quick update on where we're at with the Kester project. Even though we have not started work there, we have been hard at work with all of the pre-development. So if you remember the lease agreement that you all approved, we're in kind of that, I think it was an 18-month pre-development window. We've made a lot of headway on that. So we have worked with CES Group locally to develop a full set of plans. I'd be happy to share those with any of you at any time. We're really pretty excited with how they turned out. We've got 12 units planned for the upper level. Currently we have an elevator going in, so all the units except for the top third floor would be served by an elevator. We've got a CES Group kind of helped us come up with a plan to open up part of the buildings to make them all kind of have an interior corridor that they share. So we're excited about that. Those have been submitted to the State Historic Preservation Office. They were submitted as 3 separate applications because they're 3 individual buildings. The State Historic Preservation Office has reviewed at least one of those and already sent them to the National Park Service with minimal comments, which is a big clearance. So we're still working through that process. We've completed an environmental review. There were no real major flags there, some stuff that we were expecting. So we've completed and paid for that. We submitted a CDBG app with your all's help, and hopefully we will have good news that we can announce on that soon. That would cover the commercial portion. And we've also started conversations with the Department of Commerce on the shovel program, which is like a startup housing venture loan that you guys wrote a letter of support for. So they actually contacted us recently and said, hey, this Marysville looks like a community that they might want to fund. Obviously, the big piece of the project is the MIH and KHITC awards. Those are still pending, so they have been submitted. We should hear back from Kansas Housing Resources Corporation sometime, hopefully in March, might be as late as April. That's really going to be the thing that kickstarts the project. If we get that funding, this thing will move quickly. If we don't get that funding, then we'll come back to you and ask you to sponsor another additional application to them. But I say all that because I want you guys to know that we're hard at work. We appreciate your patience, appreciate your support during this. We've had a lot of conversations with Wayne, with Josh and his team. There's a lot of good support up here, so we're really excited to be able to advance that. What you have before you tonight is the first kind of formal step in establishing the RHID district. Again, as I've continued to say, we won't start any work until we can secure that KHRC funding. But this helps clear the way to make sure that when that award is announced from KHRC, we're ready to hit the ground running. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about that. I know Josh and I've had some conversations with Gilmore and Bell, who you guys have hired to do or to kind of assist with the creation of this district. So they're the ones that actually put together that plan. But like I said, this is the first step in that. And then additionally, and I don't know that it made it on the agenda, so I'd be happy to come back at a later date, but Gilmore and Bell is a specialized attorney. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them. They work with a lot of municipalities. We've actually worked with them, the exact same attorney, in Manhattan. They service a lot of clients across Kansas. They also do, in addition to RHIDs, they do IRBs, it stands for Industrial Revenue Bonds, which would qualify the project for a sales tax exemption. That's something I think we've had some preliminary conversations about, but that is something that we would like to formally request of you. Again, it doesn't have to be anything that's done tonight, but it does make sense for us to engage Gilmore and Bell while they're working on the RHID to go ahead and have them prep those IRBs. Happy to answer questions about that process too, but again, just wanted to make myself available to give you guys a quick update and answer any questions you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for Tyler at this time?
What is the purpose of the hearing for this?
It's a statutorily required step in the process. Typically, it's a kind of just a check mark. I don't think I've ever had anybody actually show up at those. So usually council will schedule a hearing for the same day that they pass the next step. So
Well, that's
they'll
for
open
the
the hearing and close
community?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the community did want to attend the hearing, what are their, what can they do, what can they say?
They can say anything they want. So my understanding is that the reason that the hearing is required is basically a checkpoint to make sure that a city council or a city commission does not pass a project that is overwhelmingly not supported by the community. I can't say that it's not happened. It's never happened on one of our projects, but that's probably why it exists, just so you all have an opportunity to hear from constituents that may not want that.
Is there any other discussion? So I guess I would ask for a motion to approve, for us to set a hearing.
Motion
Do we need
to approve to
resolution, or
set a hearing on,
April 14th, my birthday?
is that when our next meeting is?
April 14th at 7 p.m.
Okay, April 14th at 7 p.m. for a hearing on the RHID.
Second.
Josh, did Dominic approve that, or did we need to get the development plan back before we set that hearing? Was that on his schedule?
This was the one from the schedule.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect, okay,
Directly
all
from
right,
us, yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
We don't want to set it and then you not have.
Right, that's right, yep. Lots of Ts to cross.
So there's a motion on the floor. It's been a second to set a hearing for April 14th for the resolution to set for the RHID district. Can I ask for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tyler. Next up, we have Resolution 2025-03 for the Capers 457 program. Sorry, I'm dyslexic sometimes.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-03 for the Capers 457 for the employees.
Second.
So there's a motion on the floor. It's been second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next two items, I think, are more of a discussion item at this time. First off, we have the draft of a charter ordinance for the appointment of city officers. So I'd like to open the floor to discussion.
Fixing all the stuff. I don't
Looks
even
like
remember,
it's
I
all
don't even
fixed.
remember all the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we only had the one change about the police officers, the wording in that, I think, and that's been fixed, it looks like.
Yeah, there's some other things that were brought to our attention recently that we're looking to change, even from this version.
Okay.
So this is a more refined than what it was, months ago.
Right.
But it's still not a finished product.
Can we add more information to what those other things were?
What were the
Just for the benefit of,
Yeah, so some of it has to do with, the second, or the third and fourth paragraphs, basically, about the specificity within the ordinances that are repealed or partially repealed. In some ways, it's good to be very specific about what you're repealing, in other ways it's not. And so just really dialing that in and where we want to be and where we're not wanting to be, that's what we're still working on. And then in general, just some minor details that are just need to be caught, you know, like making sure the terms are correct, making sure, you know, all that other stuff is correct, so.
I think that this will be ready for about by next meeting, you think, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah, as long as nothing else comes up that we catch, yeah.
All of the things equal. Yeah, to flesh out what Josh was saying a little bit more, there had been some feedback about, originally in there, I had the preamble kind of saying, you know, the history of the ordinances, and then at the end, let's see here, get this old draft. It says, it's particularly section 3, it had just said all regular and charter ordinances inconsistent herewith were going to be repealed, but there had been some desire to include specific ordinance numbers. This needs to be changed, the one that's written now, to either say some specific aspect of 1891, we don't want it all repealed. And then typically I only include language that says, you know, any other ordinances, charter ordinance inconsistent herewith, and I don't specifically list which ones. The reason for that, and I think this is a good instance of showing why, is if we would repeal, let's say, ordinance number 9, it's repealing one that itself repealed something else.
Right.
So you get into this game of double negation. So in this sense, I actually think vagueness is almost a little more strong in the sense that it gives us, don't want to say a more liberal reading, but the preamble is able to speak to the whole intent of what's going on, rather than just being able to say off the cuff, 9's repealed, 1891 section 2, so on and so forth. All that intent can be read in the preamble, but I feel if we just say, nope, this is next, we get into a game of double negation. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I don't know if we need to table that or just, that's a discussion point in this business meeting, so we move on from there.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Another discussion point, draft of the animal code. Chickens.
Well, there's some other stuff that got changed in there also, not just the chickens.
Okay, well, no. Moving back to,
You know, about the, I gotta find it.
We added sheep.
Yeah, but then how we reworded instead of 2 animals on 2 acres, we reworded all that. And yes, chickens are on there.
Is there like a broad thing you can just say to let the people know what the plan is?
Well, I got a lot of phone calls and emails on this today.
Really?
I did too.
I got quite a few. And I just, you know, like, where's the one? I'm just gonna read the last part of hers. It seems disingenuous to implement a trending project for a few people rather than focusing on the needs of the entire community, such as affordable housing and fixing roads. Okay, I want people to know that this discussion came up when a dad of some 4-H'ers came to talk to a committee. This wasn't just, oh my gosh, the price of eggs went up, we should allow chickens. There was a lot more backstory to it than just, we should allow chickens in town because eggs are high.
And I think that we are definitely still focused on affordable housing, and, I mean, it's not that that's been put to the wayside because of this request for amending this. I mean, I'm still focused on that, and
Hence the development.
I'm guessing you guys are too, so I don't see how that goes hand in hand, but.
But I think to her point was the fact that if we spend money, hiring another code enforcer, spending more money because we've allowed chickens, and that takes away from being able to do other things, is what her point was. And not everybody in this city wants chickens. And her other point was, because she actually stopped and talked to me today, was that we're a rural community. You don't have to go very far to find farm fresh eggs at any given time for a lot less than what they're charging at Walmart.
But again, this didn't come up for discussion because of the price of eggs.
Right.
No,
You know what I
but-
mean?
but-
That's not where
but-
this discussion started.
But this discussion started on a father coming in for 4-H
4-H,
projects,
yes.
not chickens. He didn't want chickens, he just wanted 4-H projects on land when you have more than 2 acres, which is in what we have already.
Right, but then the conversation about 4-H kept going farther, because how do you say you can have 2 sheep, or whatever's in there, I don't know,
Right,
goat, no
Yeah.
goat, no
No
goats,
goats.
sheep, but you can't have chickens.
Right.
Well, if your kids, you know, and then it just snowballed and turned into
Yep,
this.
it did. But here's something that I saw on Facebook tonight, not too long before I came, and that's why I'm thinking maybe we need to wait because on this, because somebody, and it looks like in Beatty, and they're gonna partner with one of the vets in Seneca about a safe place TNR, which TNR stands for trap, neuter, rescue, release.
Which is what Matt brought to our attention.
Right.
But somebody in Beatty starting this sanctuary, a safe place, shelter sanctuary. But it doesn't say who the person is or anything, and that just that they're trying to get everything up and running, and they're partnering with this place in Seneca. So that's something that we've talked about with the cats. So, you know,
Well, I don't know.
But how would that affect?
That
chicken
really,
thing?
there's no relevance to this discussion. What I would say is I was enlightened when I listened to the gentleman this weekend that talked about try to pick those low-hanging fruit and make a decision one way or the other. I mean, affordable housing, childcare, our infrastructure are important things that we need to worry about, but let's make a good decision on which direction we want to go with that low-hanging fruit, and I consider the chickens a low-hanging fruit thing in my mind. I thought that the ordinance was written up the way it should be, but again, tonight is just a discussion point because we're going to wait till the mayor's back. Involved in this conversation, so.
But to your point, Colleen, in my opinion, I don't see that we passed this and the 30, how many people were in Marysville? What's our?
3,200.
3,200? I don't see 3,200 people getting chickens. I see
No.
maybe 3 people getting chickens.
Oh, no. Oh, no. There's going to be a lot more than 3 people getting chickens. There's a lot more people that are for it, and there's a lot of people that are against it.
Well, so shouldn't that be a discussion that we have a public hearing and?
I would say so,
Who wants
yeah.
to- Who wants to show up to the meeting to discuss it,
Right.
the thing?
That's just it. I mean, they'll call and send Facebook messages and emails.
But it's on the agenda.
I know.
And there's nobody out
I know,
here.
I get it.
Again,
Well, but it's a draft,
Yeah.
and because,
still a discussion.
yeah, I know, but it's not an open public hearing that maybe they might show up to a little more.
Oh, we wouldn't make that a hearing, would we? Would you make it a hearing?
I don't know what you would make it,
Yeah.
but if we are going to move forward as a community, we can't let the bullies, like he said
Facebook
Saturday,
He did say
the
that.
Facebook bullies dictate what we do as a community.
Yep.
We need to let people show up and talk to us and make our decision that way.
One comment I had from somebody that sent a message to me on it, which I had several too. They wanted to know who was going to watch them for bird flu. Was one comment that I was,
Well, you could get bird flu in a cow.
I know.
Out in the country.
I know.
And bird flu and a crow.
But, you know, in a government facility or egg facility, they gotta kill all the chickens. Are you
Right.
gonna tell them they have to terminate their whole, you know?
That is something good to think about. You know, we can discuss that at admin finance and we'll discuss it within
Yeah.
our organization.
I think,
see
like
how
I
we
said-
wanna change it.
Tonight's a discussion.
Yep. And I mean, I will say one more thing, just, you know, we talk at length about wanting to strive to not be other communities, but look at other communities and how they're successful. But it's just a little bit off-putting to me that we're able to pick out these communities and say, well, we need to be like them and we need to be like them, Manhattan, Clay Center. But only being able to pick and choose certain things that they do that we like and things that they don't do that we don't like. For example, chickens. I know that, you know, there's several other communities that, Manhattan, there's no limit on them, and we, zero. You know, I think that we would want to take certain aspects of their community and their success that we could look into, but, you know, I don't agree with the picking and choosing. I think that it's something that would be beneficial to the community as a whole, if it's done correctly and taken care of correctly.
My biggest concern is who's gonna police it?
That's what another phone call I got was, unless we have a full-time code enforcer, how are we going to enforce this chicken?
Yeah, I don't think having a full-time code enforcer is a bad thing, just
Yeah.
overall.
I don't
If
think
we
so
could
either.
get it, you know, I mean, I think that would help police a lot of other blight issues that we run into, vehicles that don't move. I think that would be a net positive for us
I don't
to.
see a lot of people running in the door waving their hands.
I know,
at each other.
it's a tough job and I wouldn't want to have it either. I don't.
But there's definitely enough work for one person to stay
But-
busy year
and-
round, not.
I would say they need to be a code enforcer and animal control officer.
Absolutely,
Training for
100%.
the two,
I agree.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they'd have to have a dual purpose at least. I agree with that, but,
Yeah,
you know, 'cause.
I agree.
Yep.
But.
Be funded by dog license and cat license and chickens.
There you go.
Well, like I say, that was just a discussion topic. Right now, if there's no other business and discussion items, I'd like to move on.
Number
to-
eight,
Oh,
number
there
eight.
is. Oh, yeah. The request, final payment for the CBG payment for the lagoon project. I think this is, what are we talking, $2,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
The request for payment.
Second.
And motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, we'll move on to notice of hearings. So right now, I'd ask that we recess the regular meeting and open a public hearing to discuss the performance, public hearing, CBG, wetland, and lift station improvement projects. Okay, we're recessed.
Yep.
Would anybody like to discuss this? Oh, and close public comment, I'm sorry. There is none. I would now ask to close the public comment session of this notice and hearing and resume our regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we move on to the consent agenda.
Did you vote?
We need to vote.
Oh, we get a vote. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
It's his first time.
Now we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Is there anything in this, there's nothing in the consent
Is there anything that
agenda?
we would like to remove before we end this discussion? Motion's been made and second. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
There's nothing in the consent agenda.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, guys.
I know. I'm just telling
You're
you.
doing great.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Great, you're doing good, Jeff.
I got this one down, though. Presentation of ordinance 3842.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3842 in the amount of $456,809.71.
Second.
Roll call.
Nailed it.
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Beichman, Thrum,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gurecki,
Yes.
Eden.
Now we'll move on to standing committee reports.
Can I report
Nope.
first?
Can you
Oh,
give us?
city administrator.
So as many of you guys know, we had a sewer main leak out by the bridge. It is not leaking at the moment, it has been put together, but it is not fixed. We are still waiting on the contractor to completely fix it up. At the moment, the pump is working, so people can resume their water use. However, like I said, it's not completely fixed yet. Otherwise, our water department has been dealing with leaks everywhere. So I'm sure plenty of you guys have gotten a lot of calls about that. I'm sure lots of people have heard about it, but all types of leaks everywhere.
Frozen pipes?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
it's in the temperature change.
Yep.
Yep. So then at the police department, we also had a leak where we had an inch or two of water, standing water in the bathrooms and in the kitchen area.
Again.
So, just this weekend, so.
But the same bathroom that flooded last time?
Yep, yep. From what I have heard now is that it does this about every year.
Yes.
So, so we are getting that fixed. We had Rainbow come out, to clean that up. And so we're gonna look at what all needs to be done. How much work are we talking about? How much do we hopefully get back from the insurance settlement?
Do we know what keeps causing the leak? Can we fix that now, or?
This one was from the water fountain, based on what I heard. And the water fountain is in the wall that connects to the outside. So I think that would have something to do with it.
Sure.
I don't know if we need to move the water fountain or what we need to do.
The interior wall, yep.
Yep. So yeah, we're working through trying to figure that out, which we were already talking about carpet replacement there. So good time. We might need to move some of that around and not do certain spaces to focus on the areas that didn't have carpet in the first place, to fix those up instead. But we'll just see how the projects turn out and how much money we're talking about. Otherwise, city staff have been working with the Kester Museum Foundation to try to work together on the agreement for the gift of the museum. So I've been working with Kim Hout and just trying to figure out what that looks like. So far so good. We've been working on it, and so we hope to have an agreement together fairly quickly, since April 1st is coming up pretty quickly. And then otherwise, please feel free to join me for coffee on Wednesday morning. I look forward to having any types of conversations with people that might have comments about the city, whether it's genuine comments or concerns. And information on that is, of course, on our website, and it will be here at City Hall. It's the first and fourth Wednesday of every month.
How's that been going?
Going pretty well. It's good to
A lot
have
of people there?
generally about 2 to 3 each time, which means more one-on-one conversations, which is good. So I always have my notebook with me and can get a hold of any city staff if we need to have them come in. And then otherwise, you know, there's coffee, so that's fun.
Yeah, good.
So, yeah, that's it.
Kramer?
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. Now we'll move on to standing committee reports.
I've been in finance committee, Matt, but I'm pretty confident that most of what we discussed was on the agenda for this evening. I don't think.
We met on water and sewer.
Water, sewer,
Yeah. Looked at a project, you know, and stuff, and then looked at the water and sewer tap connections and stuff that Mr. Seagram
Yeah,
brought in.
Matt
you know,
Seagram.
Matt, yeah. It was Adam, yeah. Yeah, that he brought in. We talked about that during our discussion.
Well, we talked about the Keystone project and then talked about plans of maybe doing something else with that to forego the cost of another, mobilization fee to get ready for possible expansion to the east of.
So the main part of that conversation was, we're talking about replacing the rural water line to the north of property owners on Keystone,
Correct.
tapping them in from the south, coming up to their house, and then getting a line going up north to the water tower.
Right.
Was the
And then
main
adding
conversation.
valves and stuff to help for possible expansion.
Future expansion, yep.
And it'll be increasing the size of the line to be ready for that and to help
Yep.
with any other issues that might have arose. And then the water and sewer taps, a lot of good ideas were brought forward, and I think no matter what happens, there's gonna, whether it's get rid of it altogether or compromise and do one and not the other, but there was some really good discussion on it, and hopefully we can work with the county, and I spoke with the commissioner on the county, and it sounds like that can be a good possibility of working with them so that we don't have to worry about, something being sold and things like that. I mean, if it's a house or a livable space, you're gonna have to do separate water and sewer taps no matter what. That's just the way it is with every city, and that's the only thing that makes sense. But if it's a garage or something other than that, there's things that we can do and progress that can be made to make it easier for people to develop and not have to worry about all the excess costs. It was a good meeting. We talked about
One part of it too, it's no secret because it was a public meeting, people could have been there, is I like the idea of not requiring a separate water tap, but requiring the individual to pay for a sewer tap. So that's taken care of and out of the way.
And that's
Water's
compromise.
one thing, but after I sat and thought about it for a couple days, that makes sense to me. You're getting the advantage of having that in your space, but we want you to pay for it and get to our utilities, so. But any other standing committee reports?
We are needing to set up an admin finance committee and then police and fire committees. So admin finance will be about a supplemental insurance that came to us. They were hoping to present. It would either be on top of Aflac or taking the place of Aflac. And then what else was admin finance?
If we're gonna bring the animal ordinance back, you said something about that within that discussion. And the rental agreement, if we have anything.
I think Lori was asking for numbers for the current.
617.
Yes. So, are there dates over the next 2 weeks that work for you guys? I am busy tomorrow and Thursday and Friday.
We know Lori's open. Let's retire over there.
She's got a job. She's got a job.
It won't be this week for me.
Yeah, this week is pretty much done for me too.
Monday of the next week, the 3rd's out and the 6th out, but I could do any other day.
That's the 4th, 5th, and 7th. And you
I
said
could do the
not-
4th, and I could do the 5th as long as it's later, like it's after 5. And the 6th I can do anytime.
6th, I'm out of town that night.
4th,
Jeff?
Jeff?
After 5.
Okay. I don't work on Tuesday, so that's,
Do we want to do the police and fire the same day after that one? Or?
Police and fire will be dependent on applications, on who's moving forward.
Because we're starting the interview process, correct?
Yep.
So do we need to set a meeting, or are we waiting on?
Well, we'll need their input, but just letting you guys know that there are those coming up.
so we're gonna do it at 5 or at 5?
You said you're
5.
I'm not
available
meeting.
at 5.
I'm at 5. I'm okay.
Lori,
but-
are you available at 5 on the 4th, or 5:15?
When do you get off work?
That would be 4:30 week. So
Okay.
yeah, 5 o'clock would be perfect.
Okay.
We'll do 5 o'clock then.
Good.
Well, seeing that there's no appointments or wage determinations, we'll move on to the city attorney's report.
Josh and I have been working on those two ordinances that are in front of you this evening. We've also got some traction on the street dedications. We think we've got a good procedure when that's set off. And then, the Kester Block gift agreement. So got that sent to him, and we're moving forward on that.
Do we have some street dedications coming up, or is it?
That one that would follow Rocky Heights on the north side, that would allow that to actually be a street.
Okay.
So then there would be access on that north side from, I can't think of their name.
Habitat? Or?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Yep, and that would continue the plans that, like McDonald's was already putting in, where there would be that exit from the north to access there. So.
Perfect. Thanks for all the hard work.
Oh, my pleasure.
You good? Okay, executive session. Does anybody see a need for an executive session? Yep. For personnel?
Yep.
Okay.
I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personnel policies, exception KSA 75-4319B1. This session will include the mayor, city council members, city administrator, and city attorney. The open meeting will resume back in the council chambers at
8.
8.
Yep.
Okay.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Ew.
And we'll resume this regular meeting. Now we'll move on to, unless there's another need for an executive session. Okay, now we'll move on to council comment.
I
Lori?
attended the thing Saturday. Jeff Spiegler, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Yeah. He's a very good speaker. If he ever comes back, I would highly recommend everybody coming. I was very impressed.
I agree.
But yeah, that's all I got.
I discussed it earlier, but I've had some complaints about Elm Street trash. And I didn't know the circumstance. I wasn't trying to start an argument. You get a phone call, they're concerned why it's not getting picked up. They don't know. I don't know. So I just thought I'd ask, but it's being handled, right?
Yes.
Yep, it's being handled.
Nothing?
I have nothing other than I attended the thing with Jeff, and what I enjoyed about it was the fact of pointing out the bullies in the community and how sometimes you just need to shut the bullies down. And community engagement is very important. We're sitting here at a meeting again tonight. I was hoping there'd be some people to talk about chickens or the other items we had on our docket tonight, but we need to encourage people to get involved. I mean, that's the big thing is we need people to get involved in our community. City government cannot fix everything. We need a strong community to help make our community better. So that's all I got to say.
I have nothing.
Keep the warm weather coming.
We're going to. Chris?
As always, I know it's been a while since our last meeting, but just a shout out to the city crews. I know we had lots of more snow come, and you know those guys stay up late and do a good job. I actually didn't get any calls about anybody upset about anything with the snow anyway, so good job to the city crews for doing that. If you see them out and about, shake their hand and tell them thank you, and hopefully we can get these water leaks fixed and stuff. So water and sewer department are gonna be busy in the next week, so if they're a little stressed out, you know why, but other than that, no, have a good week.
Kyle?
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, well, nobody else?
I do have one
Oh, thank
question,
you, Colby.
sorry. I've noticed that property out at Keystone is for sale.
It has been for probably a couple months now.
Oh, it has? Okay.
Yeah, people
that's-
have been noticing it online, so.
Yeah, mainly
Right.
there's 55 acres that are phase 2, 3 for sale, and then the balance of phase 1 is for sale. So it's kind of broke up into two things.
And does either of those include the Dawson Drive that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we would appreciate people looking at it to understand the plans that were already in place, so that way we can continue to realize that goal of having that area, fulfilled.
And now you got me thinking, Colleen, this challenge down at the apartments. If we don't get forward progress from the owners, I think we need to take a serious look at what we can do as a community or a city to rein that in a little bit. I mean, to me, it's pathetic when we have to call up somebody to bring a roll-off to take out the trash. We know we have had a hard time talking to the owners, and the owners bought the property, in my opinion, just my opinion, it's a great tax write-off when you buy those kind of properties. And if they're not gonna maintain it, and maintain it for a nice place, because I can remember 20 years ago, my grandma was there in her transition from Beatty to here, and it was a nice spot. And if we're gonna allow that to happen, we need to maybe look at what are some opportunities the city could have. I'm not saying city ownership, but are there some mechanisms we could do to make sure that people don't come in and run properties down like that? Because that's what they've done. I mean, it used to be a very nice place.
Yeah, now there's a new owner every 6 months.
Yeah.
So-
And all it is, they're just passing around a tax advantage to people.
So can we put in some specifications that if this property changes hands, these are what has to be done, or?
I think we have the right to do whatever we want to do. You know, I mean, if we as a city create a policy to say that, hey, if you're gonna change hands, I don't think you can say you can't buy it unless you do this, but at the same time, we have to have our standard. That was one of the things that our speaker talked about with the code enforcement, is we have to have our standards and stand behind them. And if we don't stand behind them, then we're not doing our job as a city and a governing body, in my opinion, but.
And if we're not getting any headway with that situation, we maybe need to look at other alternatives.
Yep, I agree, Chris.
Because it's only getting worse, it's not gonna get better, and nothing's being done.
And every year that it goes by getting worse, it's gonna be that much more of a challenge. Yeah. But yeah, 20 years ago, that was a nice spot for people to live at.
Beautiful spot then.
Yep.
Jeff, I have one more thing, and I've had several people ask me about this. Maybe McDonald's up here, is it a yay, nay?
I think McDonald's is probably out, I can't say that officially, I think that's probably out the picture right now.
I don't know, you know, I've heard people going both ways about it, and.
I think there's some challenges there with that whole opportunity. So that's just what I feel and what I've heard.
From what I've seen, and you know, because I own property there, I think they're probably getting a lot of headaches from the state highway with entrances, is be my guess.
I think that's part of it, but I think there's a lot more to it too, and I don't want to get into that right now, but I think there's just some challenges there.
Like I said, I've had several people ask me.
And it's unfortunate because, you know, you think about a place to go get a quick meal, and we're getting limited on that.
Very limited.
And we got a lot of people that need that quick meal. And so I think that any opportunity that we as a governing body and the city of Marysville have to encourage someone to come in and help us, especially with Taco Bell going along the wayside, whatever we can do to help encourage somebody to come in here and help offer that option to our community, we need to be very, I mean, you hear that one thing, you need to jump up and go, hey, I got to go talk to some people and see what we can do here, because it's going to get tough. I mean, nothing against CJ's, but CJ's at the point now is the one quick place to go. Yeah. And we need to foster more places for those kind of things to happen. I'm not a big fan of fast food, but
even Subway has had some difficulties, I guess.
They're doing pretty good now. That Taco Bell's closed. I went there today, and
they're doing pretty
busy.
good.
Especially when you only got a half-hour lunch break.
Yeah, when you get a half-hour lunch break, you need a quick place. And when I talked to an individual and asked him about Taco Bell, and he said, well, you know, that's part of the reason we did that. And, well, what about a burger place and fries? Well, I don't know if that's really what I want to do. So I'm going to leave it at that. But anything we can do to encourage.
You mean like a tax break?
Huh?
You mean like a tax break?
Whatever it is, tax break, you know, hook up utilities and we don't charge them for it. There's just whatever little kind of things we can do to help them do that kind of stuff.
It's almost on the same line as what can we do for affordable housing?
Right.
What can we do to get people to come here? Just to live. And so far we haven't come up with anything.
No.
Speaking of that, there was one more thing in the Water Sewer Committee we talked about, and I think it's important to bring up. We also talked about taking that $100 hookup fee and dropping it down, because in my mind, that's too high.
No, for a re-hookup after a delinquent bill?
In general, just to turn it on, it's $100.
Right.
I think that's excessive. So.
But don't they take that off of your bill?
Nope. It's not refundable.
They don't anymore?
Nope.
What about people, and I know, because I talked to somebody the other day, about if they've got the inch meter and want to go down, does anybody have any estimates on what it's going to cost to go down?
That was a part of our discussion at our last committee meeting, and I don't think we're ready to really come out and make a recommendation from our committee on that process.
But I forgot to mention that, and I think.
Yep. Well, if there's no other comments, I'd ask for a,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
it's been moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 8-0, right?